Awesome. Yeah, so I've been here in Shenzhen for about 10 months. I know that a lot of you guys can probably empathize with my experience being here because most of you are white. And like we all had that experience, the honeymoon phase. Like it lasted about 3 months, and then everything started to crash. Everything that I thought was cool and exciting about moving to China just became annoying, right? And I wanted to be prepared, so I did some Googling, that kind of thing, population Shenzhen, China. Dude, 15 million people live in this city. 15 million. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're at, 15 million is just too many people. Okay? And I know that might sound a little anti-Chinese, but I'm not anti-Chinese, I'm anti-human. And so, I know I told my friends that I was moving out here and that kind of thing, right? And they're like, oh, Chris, that's real brave. Not a lot of people go to China. I'm like, yeah, because most people are in China. Yeah. And so, God forbid you're late for work, right? And by the way, China's the only place that I've ever been where I get road rage while walking. Okay? You get on an escalator and it's just jam-packed, right? And you have that lady that's 5 or 6 rows ahead of you, just sitting there, and she hears you muttering behind her, oh man, get off your phone, keep moving, right? And she hears you muttering and goes, right? And Chinese women, you might be able to answer this for me really quick. Is it required by law to take multiple pictures of anything you see all the time, always? Okay, so she hears me muttering, turns back, sees that I'm white, and instinctively she's just like, cat ears. Yeah, and I didn't know that selfie sticks, or as I like to call them, the narcissist sticks, were so common in China, right? Another thing that is really common in China, fingernails that I notice. Yeah. Oh, don't groan like it doesn't happen. Okay? Right? It's the first thing I saw when I got off the plane, right? And something you guys gotta know about me is that I sing to myself in Broadway type of music, Yeah. Weird. But so I get out of the airport, right, and I have my backpack, my duffel bag, I'm going off to see a new city. I thought I'd love it for sure, but you need a VPN to access porn China. And I'm looking for my taxi driver, right, and there he is. By the way, the only thing more common than selfie sticks in China is just age. Okay? Just being old. And so I motion, I was do I get in? He's like, oh yes, opens the door, blows seatbelt please, right? And so I get in, and he wraps his hands around the steering wheel, and then he turns the key. And that's when I notice, them, right? And my first thought was oh, I didn't know the Chinese were that much into coke. Oh, that's why they build everything so fast. That's why the traffic's insane. No, the whole Asians are bad at driving is a negative stereotype. I don't believe in it, right? I don't believe in that anyway, just judging based on race or ethnicity. And I don't discriminate based on color, but I do with taxis. Okay, so what color of taxi do you prefer in Shenzhen? Blue, yeah, a bunch of racist assholes here tonight, huh? Yeah, came to the finals hoping to laugh, but turns out you're a bunch of bigots. Right? A lot of you guys are gonna be taking a taxi home tonight, right? So you'll be out on the street just oh, blue one. Oh, missed it. Oh, hey, another one's coming. A red one. And you do that thing where you're on your phone, but you're not on an app that anyone's invented yet, just to not get noticed, just And you do that thing too where you don't have the self-dignity to turn your whole body. You do that fuck you shoulder turn, just everyone in Shenzhen treats the red taxi drivers like a drunk ex-girlfriend they don't want to see. You're sitting there just oh, is she still here? Oh, shit. Okay, just leave. Just get out of here. And meanwhile, they're just where are you going? Just get in the car. I'll take you there. Let's go. Right? And everyone always talks about what's the real cost of discrimination, What's the real cost? In Shenzhen, 3 RMB. And I could get used to the whole type of thing, but one thing that will never become normal for me personally is the amount of umbrellas. Yeah. There are too many umbrellas when the bikes have them. Right? And at first I didn't know what was going on, and so I had my friend come up and I was all right, explain this to me. And she was oh, well, it's a beauty thing. I was beauty thing? She's yeah, it keeps your skin nice and white. I was okay, so explain this to me, I don't understand. She's like, well, yeah, if you're white, it just means you're a lot more attractive. So instinctively, I'm just like, you're silly, but... right? You know? And I asked her, I was like, okay, this doesn't really make any sense. She's like, well, no, if you're white, then it usually means you have a lot more money. So if you didn't know, gold digging is cross-cultural, okay? Right? And so I like to imagine like a couple of Chinese girlfriends like just like talking about a date they went on or something like that, you know, like, oh, so how did your date go? I don't know if I can go with him again. He's tan.
Like, that's not the most jump to conclusions way to be attractive ever, right? Like, if you're tan, you probably work a labor job. If you work a labor job, that means you don't make a lot of money. If you don't make a lot of money, that means you're poor. And if you're poor, that means you can't sustain the lifestyle of all these vampire bitches walking around.
And you've seen them, right? Like these Lolita fashion girls, right? Full Victorian era dress. You know, corset, bustier, just walking around like they're floating, just seductive. You know what I mean? And I know it's unfair to compare Chinese women to vampires, but I got a few more. And, okay, so here's a question, right? When do Chinese people die? Never. So, like, Chinese women specifically, right? Like, you look the same from age 18 all the way to about 72, and then just boom, overnight, just 4'10" and scrappy as fuck. Purple afro, big sunglasses, hot water. Okay? Yeah. And the last comparison is like, when you compare like a vampire and a Chinese businessman, same fingernails. Yeah. No, like, vampires are everywhere in China. Something that I do see everywhere, though, other people's saliva. Okay, don't groan like it doesn't happen. Okay, right? And you might be thinking, like, well, why does everything bother you? Guy who dresses like a rug. Okay? So let me explain. So speaking of complexions, right? As you can tell from mine, I teach English. And so I was like, I was showing my kids like facial features, you know, like eyes, ears, mouth, nose, that kind of thing, right? And by the way, they thought that touching my face was infinitely more interesting than touching their own faces. And why would they follow my instructions? I'm only infinitely smarter than they are, right? Oh, Chris, well, you moved halfway across the world to teach. You must love kids. No! Okay? No, how many teachers do we have here tonight? Alright, okay, so I'm pretty confident that I can speak for you guys too. Kids are nasty, gross, loud, smelly, obnoxious little monsters, okay? And you know what, dude? Fuck kids, man. Okay, don't fuck kids. Don't, okay. Don't buy any more alcohol. Hide your kids and your wife, okay? Right? So, like, I'm showing them this stuff, right? And this little girl comes up to me, and she's so cute, right? And by the way, it's flu season. Okay, so I'm just scared, right? So she comes up to me, and she's super excited to learn about her own face, but she grabs mine, and she just pulls it back like this, right? And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, heart's beating super fast, and I'm like, so like, I grab her little wrist, and I'm like, please let go. And as I say the word go, okay, mouth open, just, it's a mouse! Just boom, mouth open, straight back, just bullseyes my gullet, just fucking straight back, okay? And I don't know if any of you have ever experienced anything that's that like instantly disgusting, but it knocks out all of your senses, right? Hearing, gone, vision starts to narrow, right? It's like a flashbang scene from Saving Private Ryan or something like that, right? It's like, it's a mouse! I need a medic! You know, I used to think that, like, if there was ever, like, a global sickness or, like, an epidemic or something like that, China just would be screwed. But it won't, since their internet is so restricted, nothing ever goes viral. All right, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much.